Regional Vice President Black, Mr. Casey Snyder.
Well, good evening, everybody. How's everybody feeling? Very good. Good evening, everybody on Zoom. I appreciate everybody's patience here today. We decided the last minute, based upon literally all day long, people reaching out about the information, wanting to get some details. We decided to go ahead and put together nationwide. So for those of you that have team members, I know a lot of you are coming in maybe a little bit later here. If you have any team members that could not get here this evening, but they want access to the information, we have a couple spaces left, it looks like, on the Zoom. It's at meetwithcasey.com. We also are recording it as well, so you'll have access to the video, the slides, and the audio after this training. So if you see value in it, you can utilize that. Does that sound good? I need you guys to do me a favor, though. We got a bunch of people on the call, all from all over the country right now. Hi, everybody. So go ahead and everybody wave and go crazy. How we doing here? This side, yeah. I've always believed that as a leader, it is impossible to encourage someone to do something if you personally cannot, or if you have not done something before. How many would agree to that? So I felt myself in a very, let's say, challenging position because, you know, everybody in other groups are getting these services, yet I didn't feel right out of integrity to promote doing it because I knew I hadn't done a whole lot with it. Anybody know what I'm talking about, right? So here's the deal. I can tell you personally, living here in the area, I have 2 kids for those of you that don't know, and, you know, a family, and there's just, the lifestyle ACN provides is absolutely incredible. Like, we set the day. Like, every single day, it's just, you know, we do whatever, whenever, with whomever. That's kind of our lifestyle, right? So there's a lot of distractions. How many of you are aware of distractions in your life? Okay. So one of the advantages when you build outside of your local area is when you go somewhere to build ACN, that's the only reason that you're there. Now, here's the point, though, is when you go to build in other markets, if there's not anything else to do, you are focused 100% on your ACN business. Everybody got it? So had an opportunity 2 or 3 weeks ago where I went to Chicago for a couple days with the leaders out in Chicago. I know a lot of them were on. Then went out to West Palm Beach with a lot of the team in Florida. And when I go out to these areas, typically my schedule is very light in the day, most of the time. In the evenings and the weekends is really where it picks up. That's where it gets busy, just like it does for many of you. Everybody got it. So while I was away, I said, you know what? I just want to see what we can do. You know, I believe the service is phenomenal. How many of you have IDSeal? You've used it? Would you agree after you signed up for it, after you utilized it, it's a phenomenal service. Like, how many of you were blown away by the things that you've learned that ACN's taught over the last 60 to 90 days? Okay? That said, I said, you know what? I just want to see what I can do. It's been a while since I got a lot of customers, so I want to get back in the trenches, not only because I want to be able to promote it, but I also want to just go through the process again so I don't forget what it's like. Is that clear to everybody? So I made a commitment. I said 10 days. So I went out to Chicago, it was 3 weeks ago, so I said 10 days. It started on a Tuesday. I said I'm going to go from this day, Tuesday, up to 10 days from that point, and we're going to just see how many IDSeal customers that we can achieve. If you look at the next slide here, Mr. Holmes, do I have the clicker? Okay, cool. So we're going to go to the next slide. You can see it for yourselves. This represents all the customers, almost all the customers that were acquired in a 10-day time frame. Now, I understand it's somewhat distorted. I actually put it on social media. You guys can see it for yourselves. The reason that I put it on, again, I know you can't necessarily tell here. Can you hit the lights for me, Shayla, in the back? Okay. So you can actually check dates to see when all of these customers came in. And what you're going to find is the vast majority of them came in from September 27th to around October 5th. So within a 10-day time frame, 10 days, 70 IDSeal total got submitted. Now, from when I did this, I did a screenshot of it. You can see that 66 were enrolled, 4 more needed to be authenticated. Does everybody understand how that works? Yeah. Okay. Well, since then, all of them are now officially authenticated. So that's 70 authentications from IDSeal. Got me so far. Now consider this. Is it fair to say I've probably talked to a lot of people and maybe gone through a lot of my warm market in the last 15 years? How many of you agree to that sentiment? Okay. And is it fair to say if I don't necessarily need the money as it pertains to residuals or a residual from an IDSeal customer, well, then there might not be a whole lot of motivation to get that customer. Is that fair to say as well? Okay, so let's go through how, now that you have an idea of what we're talking about. I firmly believe this, there's going to be two words that I'm going to give you here this evening. The first word is going to be perspective. It all starts with your perspective in any category of your life. Some of you are like, how in the world can you get 70 customers of any kind? How in the world? I'm just trying to get 5. So it all starts with perspective. So, I just acknowledged I've not gotten lazy, kind of lazy sometimes with my business, but in comparison to in the beginning, I was so motivated when I got into ACN. Every single event I had people at. Every single event I was making phone calls, inviting people. Every day I was setting appointments and getting customers. Everybody with me? But it was my perspective back then. See, for those of you not aware, I was cleaning shower stalls for truck drivers. I was sleeping on plastic mattresses because I couldn't afford housing. As a security officer, that's where I would crash at night. I was pumping gas about 20 minutes away from here for people in New Jersey because you can't pump your own gas. So I would literally go to a gas station and stay there hours on end. The week prior to joining my ACN business in 2003, the week before, I was 20 years old, I'd worked 126 hours in 1 week. Overtime, overtime, overtime between these positions. So my perspective was cleaning shower stalls for truck drivers versus, hey, listen, I need a huge favor. Can you try something out? Going a step further, how many of you realize whatever you think is hard, you're right? And whatever you think is easy, what? It's easy. So in comparison, years ago, we only had long-distance phone service. And I can tell you, there's some people in this room that may remember this. There were times where we could sign somebody up, hand to God, we'd sign them up on a Monday, and they weren't allowed to come to a leadership happening that weekend unless they got 100 customers. So from Monday through Friday, they would literally work the phone, ask for a favor, and get 100 customers to try out the ACN long-distance service. And it became a normal thing. But over the years, with the addition of how many, would you agree there's a ton of great services ACN offers? But with that, you have perspective. So my point is perspective can either work for you or it can what? That's right. So consider, if you've been in ACN, how many of you have been in ACN for longer than 90 days by show of hands? Okay. So would you agree? If you've gotten, 10 customers in 90 days, right? In 90 days, that's your perspective. And now all of a sudden I'm telling you that we're going to show you how to get 10 IDSeal customers in the next couple of days. How many of you would agree that you're probably challenged thinking that possibility just because of your what? Your perspective. That's correct. Is everybody with me so far? That's why it's so exciting to work with new people. Because new people don't have what? They don't have perspective. So one of the reasons why we want to do this leadership event tonight is because, number one, we wanted to get all the leaders on the same page. We want you to hit reset. We want you to understand that anything you've experienced before, any customer mark, any amount of customers you've acquired in a certain period of time, all of that right now is different because your ACN was different when you did that versus your ACN what it is right now. Is that clear? If you're with me again, say aye. Aye. If you're brand new, we want to make sure all your new business partners understand what is the new normal. Because your normal a year ago, your normal 6 months ago, your normal 3 months ago is not the normal as business partners are starting now. Is that clear? Yeah. And if new people understand this, would you agree that their people are going to understand it as well? Yeah. What would you have to do in your current place of employment to make an extra $1,500 in your first 30 days in anything, or in a week or 2 weeks or whatever you do full-time for yourself? What do you have to do? How much do you have to sell whatever you have to sell? How many hours extra do you have to work to be able to make $1,500? How many of you, by a show of hands, get paid per hour? You get paid hourly wage. Do me a favor, keep your hands up for a minute, okay? You ready? Here's how you figure out perspective real quick. On a piece of paper right now, this is your business, right? On a piece of paper, write down how much you get paid per hour. Nobody's going to see it. It's your business. Just write down what you get paid per hour. Okay? Now, figure out how many hours you have to work to get $1,500. You want to get motivated in ACN? It's all about perspective. Can we agree? Like if you got to work an extra 100 hours to make 1,500. How many of you are like, I can invite some people to the meeting tomorrow? Yes or yes? But what happens is you get watered down because you're around it. It gets comfortable. It just becomes common. And you don't realize how great these incentives are. Does everybody understand? Right, so let's keep it moving here. Look at these positions in ACN. These are extraordinary. They didn't exist when I was involved in ACN. I'm going to give you some numbers here in a minute. But how many of you have hit the ETL position by a show of hands? How about the RD position? All my RDs and higher. I know we have a handful of RDs here. Do me a favor, stand up for a moment, all the RDs. So look at this for a moment. The regional directors, every time they help somebody personally get started and get customers, they make $300. Now think about it for a moment. If they helped me, I'm brand new. Alan, Cynthia, they meet me at a restaurant on the way home tonight. Everybody got it. They pique my interest. I come to the training event tomorrow. I sign up. What is it that they want to do with me in my first month, minimum? Get qualified and at least do what? At least have 2 partners, because then the new person being me is going to do what? Make what? Minimum. That's the minimum. Everybody needs to hit that. But here's the thing, right? I'm the new person, so I just made how much if I help 2 people? You got it. But think about it. They are the the regional directors, so they get 300 times 3. So they just made how much? 900. For one conversation with a stranger that may take 10 minutes and then invite. How many of you realize that that's pretty awesome? But again, it's perspective. How much do you get paid per hour? How many hours would you have to work to make $900? Versus, do you want to make some money? Let's talk about the residuals. How many points do you need to get paid 10% residual income? 60. How many? 60 points. How many points do you need to get paid 8%, or in other words, every single customer in your team through 7 levels, how many points do you need?
75.
75. So here's what happens, is some people say, well, 75 seems so far away. But it's all about, you got it. And then you add things, like the fact that the IDSeal promotion that's been promoted is how many points for that service?
4.
How many?
4.
How many?
4.
Okay. Where it's $1 a day, and there's no commitment, and you get 4 points. And oh, by the way, anybody can sign up for it. 18 and older can sign up. Would you agree? Everybody got it? I would have had 700 customers if I was back in college right now. I would have got everybody as a customer, but nobody had a home phone back then. Are y'all with me? How many of you know somebody 18 or older, like somebody in your life, you know 18 or older? They are potential what? You got it, every single one of them. So break it down. You get 5 IDSeal customers, how many points is that? What about 10? Keep it going, 20. 20 IDSeals, how many points? 80. What do you need to get paid 10% income? What do you need to get paid in your entire group? So can we agree, if you just made a simple goal of 20, if you said in the next 30 days, I'm going to average 1 every day and a half, and I'm going to get 20 knocked out, and I'm going to get 80 points, how many of you know that you can do that? It's perspective. I gave this example out not too long ago, but I think it's the best example that you could possibly use, right? What if we're on the top of a 50-high story building right now? 50 stories high. How many of you don't like heights? Imagine 50 stories high. The wind is blowing, we're at the top, and we look across, and there is another building, identical style building, and it is roughly from this wall, this is the building we're on top of this building, and it's where the RDC sign is. So I don't know, 30 feet across, right? And the only thing between the 2 buildings is it's like a 2x4, like that wide of a piece of wood, almost like a plank. So imagine 6 inches of wood that goes from one end of the building to the other. Everybody, can you picture this? And here's the thing, is I told you there's a bag of 100 grand on the opposite building. And all you gotta do is go from this building, walk the plank, and go get the money. How many of you do it? But then I added, that building is up in flames. Inferno. Flames off the side, flames off the top. You just got your bag of cash sitting in the middle. How many of you, honestly, you're thinking about it? I know you're thinking about it. Some of the urchins are like, well, what's the wind, speed, and the height? How many of you, honestly, like how many of you are like not interested? Like honestly. So consider that. But what if I said to you, same circumstance. Circumstance is the same. Perspective is going to change though, because it's your children on the other building. What would you do? You figure it out, yes? What if it was your parents, for those of you that don't have kids? For those of you that don't like kids, what if your dog was on the other building across it? Are you with me though? Would there be enough value? So we look at it and say, okay, 20 IDSeal. How can I come up with 20 IDSeal? Well, there has to be something that is going to move you. Does everybody get this? So herein lies my challenge. Again, just being fully transparent. I built a business. I don't need to get 20 IDSeal customers. There's not a lot that's going to motivate me to do it. Is that clear? But then I had a call with my mentor. Sometimes you just got to talk to your mentor. Regardless of the position you're at, RD's in the room, ET, sometimes you just got to talk to your upline, your mentors. Everybody got it. And here was the conversation. You know, the #1 RVP in the company may be able to train at the international on IDSeal. And here's the deal. In 15 years, everything that I've been blessed to accomplish in the company, I've never had an opportunity to train at a national event. So, all of a sudden, there was value. Is that clear to everybody? Are you with me? Like, how many of you understand this, right? Like, if I call a friend of mine and say, listen, I'm trying to hit a bonus, can you do me a favor and try out a service? And like, let's say I'm chatting with them on Facebook and they're looking at the picture of the kids in the Lamborghini. Like, how many of you would agree, like, that's not exactly a motivating why to who my customer might be? Right. Everybody got it? So I had to have something not only that could move the crowd or move my contact base, but I had to have something that I could genuinely get behind, like would genuinely motivate me. So here's the deal. I'm just, can I have permission to be just absolutely blunt with everybody? Okay. You have to, I know, just again, personally, I know my family is my motivating factor, but I know we're comfortable. So that's not moving me to action every day. Is that clear to everybody? So some of you in this room, I know you're doing ACM because of your family, but somebody's paying you enough to be comfortable. And you're just not willing to get uncomfortable. Like you're literally getting paid just enough not to quit. And you're working just hard enough not to get fired. Some of you. Now some of you are motivated anyway, but it's not enough. Your why isn't enough because you have it, it's okay in your life. Does everybody get that? So here's the deal, is the one thing you can take from tonight, I'm going to give you some scripts. I'm going to give you some approaches. I'm going to help you with retention too, because I know a lot of you are interested in keeping the customer also, yes? Yes. But at the end of the day, outside of perspective, it is all about what is your motivating factor. And you don't have to say something just because it sounds good. Like if your spouse isn't your why, don't say that. Is that clear? Like it has to be something that's going to move. Maybe you just want recognition. Maybe you haven't gotten any recognition in your life, or it's been a long time. Maybe that just would make you, well then you have to get present to that to be able to get the job done. Is that clear? Are you with me? Yes. How many of you are deep in thought right now? You're thinking about it. Because I believe this, is if your why was bigger right now, if it was genuine, if it was something that was significant, I truly believe in my heart you'd have more customers right now. 100. Here's the second word I want to give you. So the first word was what? Perspective. Got to change up your perspective or figure out a way to look overall at the situation and compare it. What would you have to do at your current place of employment or your business to generate an extra $30,000? Okay, we laugh, yes? Like we laugh about it. But you got to get real. Like that's $1,000 a day. So knowing what you get paid or knowing what your job role is or your business is, what do you have to do to generate an extra $1,000 a day for your family? Go ahead, write it down. Guys, this is why I had early success in the company, is because there was nothing that I could do. There weren't enough hours in the day. Even though I was single at the time, I didn't have responsibilities like I do now. There was just, it wasn't possible in my world. Is that clear? How many of you can relate to that? So I looked at 30 grand and I said, oh my gosh. So the first thing's perspective. The second thing though, just as important as the first thing, is what's called intent, or being intentional. What do I mean? How many of you have ever lost weight before on purpose? Okay. Would you agree at some point you had to flip a switch and you had to get very intentional with whatever the goal was? Yes? Yes. One of our business partners, a lot of you know who he is, Mr. Chris Banzali. Okay? He's a regional director in our team. Chris decided in fall of last year, he told Mr. Brown and I, Fabian and I, he said, I want to enter into a bodybuilding competition. Now, Chris, for those of you that don't know Chris, was in excess of 260, maybe 270 pounds, a little shorter, maybe, I think he's 5'3". He made the commitment in January, February at the latest, and he got crystal clear on his goal. He got extremely intentional. Changed everything. Changed the eating habits, changed the workout habits. Not only that, but his family rallied around him as well. His wife, his children, they changed their eating habits to accommodate what Chris wanted to do. They all focused in on his goal. Like it was a family goal. Is that clear? So this past weekend, it was great because not only did he enter in the bodybuilding competition, not only did he get second place, not only did he lose more than 100 pounds in a healthy way since January, February. Like, would you agree? Like, that's crazy. But that was extreme intent. He was very intentional. Can we agree? Right. Related to your ACN business. How intentional are you? So here's the thing, is if you treat ACN like a hobby, like a weekend softball player, guess what type of money you're going to make? Yeah, you're not. Because there is no such thing as hobby money. Hobbies cost you money. Think any hobby. Why do you do the hobby? You like doing the hobby, yes? You like coming to an event. You feel good. Positive people, you're excited. Hobbies cost you money. Hobbies cost you time away from your family. So you got perspective and you got what? Intentional. How are you going to figure it out? Well, for starters, it depends on how big your goal is. Fact, if you tell me tonight, I'm fired up, Case, I want to go out, I want to get 50 IDSeal customers, and I want to do it in the next 15 days. I know you can do it. You do. So here's the thing, how big your goal is versus how fast you want to achieve it. If you say, I want to get, let's say, 50, and I want to do it in 15 days. Well, that's going to be different than if you say, I want to get 50, and I want to do it in the next 30 days. You want to hit RD by the end of the month? You can hit RD by the end of the month. Listen to what I'm saying to you right now. You could have signed up an ACN in the last 30 days. With the compensation the way it is, with what Mr. Reedman's going to talk about with team building, and with what I'm giving you with IDSeal, you could legitimately knock out regional director before the next international training event. You can do it. But here's what it's going to take. You're going to have to give up some hobbies. That weekend softball thing that you do, whatever it is, maybe not softball, but whatever it is you do, you're going to have to sacrifice something if you want to get it that fast. Is that clear to everybody? Now, if you're okay hitting RD next year, you don't have to give up as much. Do you get the idea? Everybody understand? Think about it. Everything that you've had in your life that you really get excited about, that you feel like it was a significant achievement, was there periods of time where somebody said you were obsessed? Think about how many of you are married. Is it fair to say you're obsessed? Or at least you remember there was a time where you were obsessed. Yes or yes? Think about it. You got a college education. How many of you furthered your education? Was there a period of time where you couldn't go out and have fun? You couldn't go out and drink. You couldn't do whatever because you were obsessed with the test you had to take the next day? Yeah, so ACN is no different than anything else that you've achieved of greatness. We're just telling you what it actually takes. Number one, you want to get a bunch of IDSeal customers. Number one, you got to set a goal. You got to do what?
Set a goal.
Turn to your neighbor, say it.
Set a goal.
Number two, you got to plan it out on paper, not in your head. What do I mean? Here's what I mean. Schedule your day tomorrow. You say, I know I can do ACN. I'm gonna come to the training. It's 10 to 12:30. And you know what? Tomorrow, I'm going to work my ACN business 4 to 6 p.m. Cool. Put it on paper. And here's what you tell your spouse or your family. I got to work tomorrow, 4 to 6. I used to always refrain from telling my family or my kids or my friends I'm going to work. I thought it was like a bad thing, like I'm going to work. But I realized nobody understands unless I tell them that. Right? Like, Tess is likely watching this right now. When I would say it's for the business, there could be multiple distractions occurring during the conversation. Does everybody get that? But if I say, no, this is for work, there's more respect given in that light. Is that clear to everybody? So if you got to tell your family the same thing, then tell your family, listen, I got to go do work. Whether it's ACN or not, I got to go do work. You guys got to perspective, right? If you're making $200,000 a year and you work for Greg Provenzano, the CEO, or your local manager, Mr. Provenzano is your local manager. You make $200 grand a year. You've got this, this, and this that you have to do to be able to keep your job. How many of you would agree that you're going to do your job? Yes. And if your family and your friends or whoever get involved distract you, what are you telling them? I got to go to? Do you treat your ACN business the same way? No. Most people don't. Third point I'd like to give you is take what? Listen, you can be inspired tonight, you can be motivated tonight, just like you can be motivated at the National. You can be really fired up. Here's the thing, unless you take what? None of it matters. I'm going to talk about resources in a minute, where to get your customers from. But one place to get customers from is anybody that's ever been in ACN before. Here's why. They know what it's like to have to ask for a favor. So I called a bunch of people that were in ACN prior. Haven't been around in a minute. And part of the language was, you remember how hard it was to ask for a favor? I really need a huge favor right now. That said, when did I tell you the first customer came in for IDSeal? Remember the date? 27. September 27th. How long has ACN offered IDSeal? Couple months? When did they start the 4-point promotion? Beginning of September. So here's the thing, is if I called somebody in your team, you may have been irritated. However, you had 27 days before I called somebody in your team to get them. And you could have called them within the 3 months prior to that. Has everybody got it? So here's the thing, is unless you take action, it's on. The only customer you can't get in ACN is one that another rep already got. I'm going to give you the scripts now. All right? This is my approach. You've heard different approaches along the way. I'm just going to give you exactly what I did, and I'm going to give you the mistakes that I made as well. Is that fair? Here's mistake number 1. Are you ready? I called some friends, and because I hadn't talked to them in a while, I spent an hour plus on the phone with them trying to get them as my IDSeal customer. And I found myself as if I was a sales guy for IDSeal. I was giving them every perk, every benefit, every comparison that I possibly could on the product. I was literally as if I was a salesperson. How many of you ever felt like that before? Here's what wound up happening. You ready for this? I didn't get the first customer. Believe it? I didn't get the first one. Here's what they said at the end. I got to get back to you. I need to do some research. Then I did it again, and I got, let me think about it. And you know what wound up happening? Again, full transparency. I remember literally thinking to myself, I don't know if I'm going to be able to knock out 65. Because that was the goal. I wanted to get 250 points. All right? 65 in 10 days was the initial goal. And so after I got rejected from the first 2, I started doubting myself. How many new IBOs go through the same thing? It was literally like I made a lot of money in ACN. Has everybody got it? And here I am, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. And I had a moment. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing right now? Like, what? I'm like, okay, what would I do with somebody new? I'd say, read the script. Am I reading the script? Oh my gosh, I'm not reading the script. And it brought me back. I realized I wasn't asking for the favor. I was legitimately trying to sell the product. Now, is it a great product?
Yes.
Yes. But I wasn't getting a result. So I said, you know what? I gotta take a step back. I gotta take a deep breath. The other thing is I spent more than 2 hours of my day that first day, and I didn't get the results. So now I'm really questioning whether or not I'm going to be able to get enough. Has everybody got it? There's a young gal that used to be in the team years and years ago. She's from the Reading area. And she happened to be online on Facebook. Like, anybody have ever go on social media and you see like when they're online to chat? And I said, you know what? I'm just going to try it. And I sent the message. And I said, I need a huge favor. And would you believe she said yes? And would you believe she sent me the confirmation within 10 minutes after doing it? And I remember getting that first confirmation and saying, it's about to get real. This is it. And then it was one after another one, after another one, after another one, after another one. One day specifically, I got 15 IDSeal in one day. I'm not special, I promise you. I'm telling you, all I did is what I'm about to show you. Are you ready? So here's the approach that I got down. Whether it was Facebook, Instagram, or primarily texting, I would start with their name, exclamation point, exclamation point. Everybody got it? I do this, though, with a quick number of people. So I'll do it with 5 people, 10 people. So it might be Marcus, Alexis, Rita, right? Whoever responds to me first, that's who I'm engaging with. Everybody got it? This is how I'm going through it quick. Are you with me? Now, whoever responds to me, I have a cut and paste text message I send back to them, or a message. Great news. I may need a huge favor, though. Would you have a few minutes to talk within the next hour? Now, here's the thing. Before, I gave you 3 steps. Do you remember? What are the 3 steps I just gave you? Set the goal, right? What's the next one? Plan it out, and then the next one? You got it. So what's my goal? I want to get 5 done today. Plan it out. Well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get any tonight because I'm with family. I'm hanging out with family. That's okay. What about tomorrow? Tomorrow morning, I know I have time. Okay, I planned out my day tomorrow morning. So here's what I would do with my script. Great, and I did this with a couple. Like when the family came in and I met up with them in Orlando. So I was in West Palm, and for those of you who know the area, I drove up to Orlando, and then we went to Disney, and we did that whole bit for the week, okay? So I knew when family got there, I was present with family. Are you with me? But I also knew that sometimes they sleep in. So I knew I had prime time when they were all asleep. So I could get up early, and that's when I could get customers done. Are you all with me? Everybody got it? So my script tweaked a little bit, and I would say, hey, I went through it. Great news. I made you a huge favor. Would you have time to talk tomorrow from 8 to 10? So whatever I planned out, that was what I did in my script. Does this make sense to everybody? Are you with me? Yes. Okay, good. So then I did this with 5 people, 10 people. Literally, cut and paste, sent the same message. Some didn't respond. Most did. Everyone that did said, sure, what's up? You can call me now. Call me tomorrow. Whatever it was, that is the response I got. Everybody got me? Okay, cool. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're super busy. So yes, I may need a huge favor, but catch me up quick. How are you? What's going on? Now, there were people, you guys, that I got as customer that I have not had a conversation with in a decade. 10 years. Old friends. I reach out. Great news. May need a favor. Do you have some time to talk? Now think of it. You and I haven't talked in forever. Either you're going to respond to me or you're not going to respond. But if you respond, you're open to talking. Can we agree? Now, if I get you on the phone, I'm not messing around. I'm not saying, oh, how's life? How's great? Oh, by the way, I need a favor. I'm not going with that approach. I'm saying, listen, I'm calling you because I need a huge favor. Thank you for taking the call. However, it's been a while, so catch me up real quick. I have a couple minutes. Now, I don't want to spend an hour with anybody on the phone, so I acknowledge I have a couple minutes, right? Catch me up quick. And here's what they do. Every single time they did it, they would tell me a little bit about life, their job, their kids, whatever was going on. And they, every single time, what do you think they asked me? Oh, was that favor? What is it that you needed? Okay? Next one. This is what I say and what I would recommend. This is ideal for IDOs that have been in ACM for a while. If you're brand new, we are going to tweak the beginning of your script. So if you're new, this one isn't as the majority of it's relevant, just not the first portion. Is that clear to everybody? Right, this is a leadership tonight. You had to be CQ or higher to get in. So we're all clear, right? I'll go through that script as well, but here's the concept. I would call a friend, and we're going to read it together here. I'll read it to you so you can see it together. As you know, I've been doing this business for 15 years now. I'm not sure if I told you, Or remember, I'm doing it for, you could say for my kids, I'm doing it for my family. Whatever your real why is, that's what you put in there. Is that clear to everybody? Okay? Anyway, I'm in line for a huge promotion. We just launched a brand new service. I need some friends and family to try it out and give it an honest review or testimonial. Imagine this phone call, okay? Rita, thank you so much. I know how busy you are. As you know, I've been doing the business for 15 years now. You know, obviously I've been successful with it, but honestly, there's just one thing that I've never achieved and I've always wanted to. It's been on my heart for a while. I would really love the opportunity. That's train on the international stage. Well, I just found out that I have a shot of being one of the trainers. What they're going to do is take the #1 VP based upon that particular service. And, you know, I've never had a shot. I've never been this close before. You know, I would never ask you for a favor randomly here, but this would really mean a lot. Needless to say, IDSeal just launched a new service, and we're looking for some testimonials. We're looking for some people to review it for a couple of months minimum. It's a great service. You're probably going to wind up keeping it and liking it. Would you mind just trying something? The vast majority of the people immediately said yes, because the vast majority of the people I talked to knew I've been in the business for a while, and they knew how important that may be what I acknowledged. That's how you get somebody to try something. You have to have something compelling. So jot it down as a note. What is not my why? What is my compelling reason why? Has to be compelling. Now go back to intentional, right? If your intent, if you're going to get 75 points and you need 5 more IDSeal customers to hit your 75 mark to get your full residuals, right? Are you going to be intentional when you talk to somebody? Are you going to be like, hey, listen, I need you to try this right now? Yes. Or are you going to say, hey, take a couple months and think about it and let me know? No, what are you going to say? Can you do it right now? Does everybody understand? Right? If you look at the next one, obviously they're going to ask what it is, right? You got to get into what it is a little bit. It's private cybersecurity. Are you familiar with identity theft protection? Have you ever even heard of another company called LifeLock? I'll reference LifeLock because I know we're better than LifeLock. I have no problem bringing up LifeLock. Right? This is somewhat similar, but we're much more advanced. It's full coverage protection on your identity, and you can protect your children too. Now here's the thing. They are more open to supporting me and trying something than they are doing just identity theft protection. Is that clear? But can I tell you what I experienced in the process? Can I tell you? Okay. Would you believe out of the 70, I would say 10 to 15 had another identity theft company. But because my why was already there and they understood it, every single one of them not only became an IDSeal customer, none of them even asked the pricing. None of them broke down comparisons. I didn't have to do a comparison and overview of anything. They had identity theft protection because of things that they had gone through in the past. Because I shared my why and they found out we offered it, they then took our service, they canceled the one they had prior. You don't share your why though, you can't get them to do that. Is that clear? All right? Next one. Honestly, the service is incredible. I'm sure you're gonna love it. My focus right now is having people try it and see how they like it. Would you be open to helping me? It is literally $1 a day with no contract. Now again, you got to think like where you might be, right? Like pretend that you're my potential customer and I'm talking to you right now. Now most of you, I personally believe most of you, especially because you know what it's like to ask for a favor, most of you would say yes. How many of you are in agreement with that? Okay. Some of you may have a little resistance. Can we agree? Some of you maybe money's a little bit tight. Is that fair? How many of you have ran into opposition getting IDSeal customers? Anybody? What's some of the opposition you got? Anybody? They already have some type of protection. Did we address that with what I just shared? Yes. Right? 15 people, 15 that had a different company came to IDSeal without asking the price or anything else just because I shared my why. They were familiar with it. Now here's why I'm going to talk about retention in a couple minutes. I'm really excited though, because the ones that had it before, do you think they're going to go anywhere? No. Why would they? They're already familiar with the benefits of protection. Is that clear? What's some other things that you've run into objections? Too many occurring bills. Anybody get that before? Okay, anybody else? Maybe just don't have the money for it right now. Anybody? Okay, so keep those in mind. I'm going to address those in a moment. But this is when you get into the area of they might want to help you, but they're a little resistant. They would love to support you, but they're a little resistant. Has anybody ran into that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're going to keep it moving. Green apple on the fence. First, you want to address their potential hot buttons. So if they're a younger generation, we have some social media protection. Is that pretty incredible? If they're parents, you want to reference the sex offender registry. If they're an older generation, bring up medical ID protection. Everybody, you can reference $1 million in coverage. No deductible, right? I shared with a couple IDSeal prospects that it's like insurance. It's like coverage on your identity. $1 million in coverage. $1 a day protection. But more importantly, I really need some people to try it out right now. I wouldn't have called you if it wasn't a big favor. I got to get this done right now. When do you need to buy? I should need to buy tonight. How do you get 5 more by tonight? Well, how many do you need to get on stage? Honestly, there's other people going for it too, so I have no idea. I just got to get a lot in right now. But that was my why. Does everybody get that? Next thing. If you need to in LifeLock, there is a breakdown on our website. However, full transparency, I did not use that breakdown one time of the 70 customers. Not once. In the beginning, I tried to. I was literally naming everything. Real-time authorization notifications, loss wallet protection, 24/7 member support, free iOS and Android. And that's why my calls took so long, and that's why they said I need to do some research. Do you got it? But when I said it was all about the favor helping me doing it right now, they were more inclined to doing it. All right? Alternative approaches. These are just some other ways if you start, running into a wall a little bit. Ask if they are familiar with other breaches. Basically, our goal is to scare them enough to want to do it. I'm just kidding, okay? You want to make them educated because a lot of people don't even know that this is a world out there, right? Second point, walk them through the site at myiDSeal.com to see if they were personally affected. My suggestion, though, so we're clear, I usually only do myiDSeal.com after they sign up for the service. Now, why would I do that? If I bring it up beginning and they haven't been breached, it's harder to get them to become my customer because now they see even less value. You got it? If I get them as a customer, though, and then I take them, if I say to them, hey, listen, there's actually a possibility we can get you a settlement check through not only Equifax right now, but also if you notice, Yahoo just had one as well. All we have to do is go to this link to see if Equifax was breached as well. If Equifax was breached, you're entitled to $125 because you have the service. If you have the service for 5 months, you can keep the service. So let's go ahead and take a look. And if you go to that site to claim your settlement check, it asks you, who's your protection? Well, now they just ordered IDSeal through you, so they can then put that in. Has everybody got it? Okay, last point, and Mr. Reedman brought this up to me. This is phenomenal, phenomenal resource. Wikipedia. Go to Wikipedia, search companies breached, and you are going to get a listing. In fact, maybe Mr. Holmes can bring it up when Mr. Reedman comes up. If Chris, you want to acknowledge that list with Ron when you start the training. It goes through every company breached, how many people were breached, what information was taken. Like this list, it's mind-boggling when you see how many companies that you know of were affected from that. But again, you can use this to help generate that customer off the fence. Is that clear? Now, are you going to use this at the beginning of trying to get a customer? Are you going to take them to Wikipedia when you call them tomorrow? No! You're only going to use this if we start running into resistance with the service. Does that make sense? Got me? Okay, good. When all else fails. How many of you need a contingency plan? How many of you need a nuclear option? Like, there's got to be something. You with me? Here it is. You just got to do some math. Think like a business. You're an ACN business owner, so you got to think like a business owner. Do most traditional businesses cost money to run?
Yes.
Does it cost money for insurances? Does it cost money for overhead? Does it cost money for employees? Does it cost money for inventory? Is it a little bit more than $500 a month? Okay. Yes, it's a home-based business. I get that. But if there's things that you can do to invest in your business to grow your business, why wouldn't you do that? Perfect example. You ready for this? ACN itself. ACN says we want more identity theft protection customers. So we're going to give out $250 bonuses for every 5. We're going to take our profit, we are going to put it into the field because people are going to be more motivated to promote it. They're taking that profit and putting it in. Does that make sense? That's how business owners think. So why can't you think the same way? So when all else fails, don't misinterpret what I'm about to tell you. I am not telling you to pay for everybody to do IDSeal for you. Because what will happen is you're going to lose a lot of customers right after you sign them all up. Is that clear? It's pointless. However, if there's moments where you need to invest in it, why wouldn't you do that? 5, IDSeal, you get how much? It's a $250 bonus. Here's how the bonus works if you're not familiar. They sign up for the service. Once you hit 5, you get $125 the next weekend. Direct deposit. If all 5 of your customers, their credit card goes through the second time, they release the other $125 bonus. If that card gets declined, that does not count as one of your 5 for that promotion. Which means you got to make sure your customers at least keep it for how long? Minimum. Everybody got it? So when I do this with you, I want to break down the numbers simply, okay? If, worst case, just to give you perspective, worst case scenario, you did invest in 5 people to do IDSeal. How much would that cost you at $30 a month? $150. $150 for your ACN business. You with me? Okay. How much do you get back minimum as a bonus? $125. How much did it actually cost you? $25. How many accounts did you get?
5.
How many points do you have? 25 for 20 points. Versus some of the services that you randomly purchase just for points that are costing you way more than $25. Fair?
Fair.
You gotta think like a business owner. Here's why I get excited. If I get to that point where they're not budging, you're gonna tell me yes if I pay for your month. Like, why wouldn't you? Like, if you're just like, Casey, I don't even have $30. I'm like, I will Venmo you the money right now. Can you sign up for it right now? Who's not gonna sign up for it? Are you with me? But here's the other piece of it that's so important. It's what's called subscription services. This is in society right now. How many of you have Amazon Prime? Okay, how many of you have not used it as much as maybe you should have? Yeah, that was me. I signed up for it. I didn't use it once in a year, but every month my card got dinged. Anybody else? For clarity, it is a great, great, great service, IDSeal. However, human nature is still human. So if somebody tries it, you got to think like a business owner. Got to think like a business owner. Yeah, we want to keep the customer. But here's the reality. There are going to be some people that try it for you. They don't care and they forget about it. And here's the best part. Are you ready? 6 months from now, they get breached. And because they forgot about the IDSeal that you had them try, they are fully protected. Now, do you think they're ever going to lose that service? No, not at all. So that's how you got to think. And I'm going to show you this exactly. And we're going to wrap this portion up. Can I have one volunteer just come up here real quick? Anybody besides Marcus? All right, come on up, Jen. So prior to this, truth told, I did not have Venmo. Didn't have it, never used it, had Cash App, never used Venmo. Can you do me a favor? Come over here. And do me a favor, and we're going to read, not those two, because those were not ACN related. But we're just going to count right here, right? Well, you can say it out loud. What does that say?
IDSeal trial, thank you, bro.
Thank you, bro. Okay?
Minus
How much?
$31.
31. So because of tax, I always said 31. Right? Like I don't want, because I had one, the first guy was like, it was $30.85. And I'm like, you really want me to Venmo you $1 right now? Like seriously? So I literally sent everybody 31. Then it's an issue. Is that clear to everybody? But do me a favor and track this for a minute. We got 1, 2.
4, 5.
She paid for her husband. That's okay. So 6.
6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
14. Okay, you got it? From Venmo. And then over here, Cash App. Cash App. I gotta figure out how to use this Okay. So how many?
2,
And then
4,
that's it. So 4. And how many before?
14,
So it's a total of
18.
how many IDSeal did I get?
7.
How many did I pay for?
18.
How many did I get?
7.
How many did I pay for?
18.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So someone do the math. 70 IDSeal for the bonus. Okay? And you can do it because nobody's getting off of it after a month with me. So we're clear. Okay? I'll show you retention lastly in a second. But if you think about it, how much is the bonus? $250 for every 5. I got 70. How much is that? $3,500. But I paid for 18. $31. What's 18 times 31? Roughly 600 bucks. So I pay 600, but how much did I get in bonus money? Now, are some going to drop? Sure. I'm sure they are. Some people drop. However, if you only get 5 and you keep the 5, but I get 70 and I keep half, who has more IDSeal customers? Are you seeing how this works? More importantly, before I go through retention here, and this is the last thing, some of you, not all of you, but some of you in this room are literally losing out on thousands of dollars every single month in residuals or bonuses because you're not an RD and you're not fully qualified. When all you got to do is go get a handful of IDSeal and everything opens up for you. Everything! Think like a business owner. Here's retention. Because this will knock you on your butt if you're not prepared. If you just sign up random IDSeal customers and you do not go through these steps, you are going to lose points as fast as you put points on. And it will knock some of you out of the game, or more importantly, if you don't prep your team the right steps, you're going to have people quit because they're going to get excited and then they're going to feel, depressed because they lose points that fast. So you have to prep them the right way. Is that clear? Here's how the IDSeal service works. If a credit card does not go through, the points immediately fall off. They're not scheduled in a purge. They fall off if the credit card doesn't go through. So here's the thing. You don't want to ever use your card for somebody else's IDSeal. Does that make sense to everybody? You also never, ever, ever put a gift card on or any other type of card like that on, because it literally will be on and then it'll fall off right away. Is that clear? Now, if you need to give somebody cash, Venmo, Cash App like I shared, it needs to go to them and they need to use their card. Is that clear to everybody? They have to sign up for the service to keep it. Next thing, a lot of your customers, if you use the approach I shared with you, they're going to do it to help you. And then the next step is you send them the link. So I'll read you that in a moment. I'll send them the link. I'll say, thank you. Here's my storefront. Here's the IBO number if you need it. Just click on this link. You can sign right up. You're going to get an email back in the next 10 minutes. I need you to then go through the questions to authenticate your account, or it's not going to help me. Did you get that? Yes. So I'll send the link and I prep them. None of this counts until you get your second email. You go through your questions and you set up your account. So here's the deal. You're going to sign these customers up. I'm telling you, some of you this weekend, I'm mark my words right now, between those that are on the Zoom call and everybody in this room, some of you in this room are going to go out and get 10 plus IDSeal. Some of you in this room are going to break 20. I believe somebody in this room is just going to go crazy after this weekend and literally knock out 30 plus. And you're going to go from your point total and you're going to add another 100 customer points in your business in the next 48 hours. I'm telling you, if you apply what I'm giving you, it's going to happen. Here's the deal though. When you do that and you get them authenticated, you don't want them just signed up. You want them locked in. So what you need to do is go through these 4 steps. The first, after you make sure they're authenticated, follow up with them within a couple days. Here's what you do. You make sure that they actually updated their information they want protected. The credit cards, the passports, whatever they feel comfortable with. Is that clear? Because here's the thing. A lot of customers we found from the beginning with IDSeal signed up for the service, but they didn't protect themselves with anything. So a month or 2 later, they're like, well, my friend said just try it for the month. They cancel it because nothing was actually set up. Is that clear? You don't want that. You're not saying try it for a month. Nowhere in my language did I say try it for a month. I said I need people to try it and give me a review and a testimonial. Did you notice that? You're not going to put it in somebody's head they're going to cancel it. That's not what you're going to do. But you want to follow back up and make sure they put stuff on the books to get protected. Because here's what happens. How many of you got an alert that somebody tried to get into some of your information by a show of hands? Anybody? Look around the room. Okay? Now, what happened the second that you got the alert somebody tried to hack you? Immediately, what? Were you happy you had the service? Okay. And you're never going to get off of it. So you want to lock in your customers. The more you get them protecting, the more likely they're going to have an experience. The more they have an experience, they're never going to leave the service. Is that clear? Are you with me? Yeah. Cool. Next thing. Also, if you haven't done it yet, walk them through myidseal.com. Because if they get that settlement check, the $125, or at least it says they're going to get it, then they're more likely to keep that service for a few months. The third point, thank you cards. Every one of your customer. Guys, they did you a favor when you asked them to do you a favor. Spend $5, $10 at a local Target, CVS, whatever. Get a pack of thank you cards, bulk pack of thank you cards, and then follow up with a thank you. What I do with everybody is I ask, what's your favorite? Dunkin', Wawa, Starbucks. And I'll send them a $5 or $10 gift card in every one of my thank you cards. Or Mr. Reedman in the past has done scratch-offs. So in the scratch-off, in the card, thank you for allowing me to get my dream or go after my dreams. Hopefully you'll win and you can go after yours. Put the scratch-off ticket in there. Now if they win, they're never going to have a problem continuing to pay for IDSeal. Is that clear to everybody? Fourth point, and this is a big one. A lot of you are on social media. Thank them for helping you. I wanted to do this training before I thanked all of my customers. But over the next week to 2 weeks, you are going to see me parade out every single person that was willing to help me out and try it. If they have a business, I'm going to promote their business. I'm going to thank them for helping me, and then I'm going to promote their business. If they don't have a business, I'm just going to acknowledge them. But I'm going to give them as much recognition as possible, because the more recognition I give them, the less likely they're going to cancel it. Is that clear to everybody? The last note I just want to give you, it's not even on there, but I want you to add, this is important as well. Got to track your customers every couple days, your personal customer list. Here's why. Some of your customers may not purposely cancel it, but one of them might have an overdraft. One of them might have other bills set up and forget the card that they put it on. Is that one of them might expire the card. If you catch it right away, you can call them and say, hey, listen, your card didn't go through. We need to get it back and set back up. But here's the deal. If that card doesn't go through and 3 months later you realize that it just fell off, they're not going to sign back up with you because now they're coming from a I don't need it place. Is that clear? Got it? Okay, good. Here's some sources. Family and friends. Previous customers. Every one of your customers. Hey, listen, I know you did the energy for me before. Well, if you could do me a favor, we launched a new service. Need some reviews and some testimonials. Would you mind trying it out? I would print a customer list that you currently have and follow up with every one of them and promote IDSeal. Also, if anybody has a spouse or a child, did you notice, I don't know if you picked up on when Jan was reading it, but she said this one was 2, this one was 2. Did anybody catch her saying that? Yeah. Here's why. I was friends with somebody like a spouse, but I said, hey, if I pay you for your spouse, can they try it also? The one she referenced, there was 3. That was because there was a spouse and a 20-year-old child. I said, listen, everyone counts right now. If I'm willing to pay for them to try it, can you set up your daughter and your husband as well? Sure. Cash App, all 3 set up. Everybody with me? Yeah, it's a great product. But here's what you have to remember, is that as great as the product is, our responsibility is to take it to the masses. And psychologically says there's certain ways people will do things. And ASEA knows that it's the relationship, right? It is a great product, but the point is you can follow up with how great the product is after you get them as the customer. That's how you retain them. Has everybody got that? Lastly is referrals. Every single one asks for referrals. Mr. Reedman's going to talk a little bit more about that. Last advice I'll give you, schedule out power hours with your team. Right? Don't do this alone. You know, Yesenia's on the call tonight. The Dradis are on the call tonight. These are the teams that I have outside of the area. And they watched me get IDSeal customers in front of them. They watched me go through the approach. They watched me get the customer. That in general, though, how many of you realize when you have a group of people doing something and they start getting some wins, it gets very motivating? How many of you realize that? So I would recommend, even if there's people in here that aren't in your team, schedule a time where you guys can get together, get some pizzas, get 5 or 10 people all together, and literally schedule out 2 hours, 3 hours where you're just going to do IDSeal calls and invites. What if, think about it, what if it's your team that's there? And what if the total, the 10 reps that are there with you, what if the total is 50 IDSeal customers are acquired? How many points just got dropped into your organization? 200. Some of you would be RD. Like, it's never been as great as it is right now. Do you got it?